Hello folks. So let's speak about the month of April. Remember, this is the sidereal system, so if you don't know your sign, you can check on my website. There is an online calculator which will show you your ascendant and your moon sign. So let's get into this. Now, what is happening in April? Now, in any month, there are 3 special days when the energy of the universe is resetting. And that is when both the sun and moon are going through shifts. So the movement of the sun every month is known as Sankranti. And the full moon and new moon are the shifts of the energy in the moon cycles. This is when the emotional body goes through changes. So if you ever wanted to do a remedy, these are the times to do it. So what's happening? There's a full moon on April 6th in Virgo, in Hasta. And we have the first eclipse of the year, a solar eclipse in Aries, in Ashwini on April the 20th. The big news of the month is Jupiter's movement into the first sign of the zodiac, Aries, where it will join Rahu on April the 21st. I've made separate videos on these two events, the eclipse as well as Jupiter's movement. So go through them for a more detailed analysis. I'm just about to post that, yeah? So, starting with the first sign, Aries. For Aries, you have a great month ahead. All the action takes place in Aries this month. And life speed will pick up enormously. Now, to begin with, the month starts with Venus, Rahu, and Mercury in your first house, making you stand out. You can be popular, in demand, and people will seek your company this month. Now, relationships will be a priority. You'll notice that people are reaching out to you. You will get invites to go out without making much of an effort to reach out to others. And you can meet some new people. You can meet some new people this month, certainly. Like now, Lord Mars is in the 3rd house, good for taking action. It's good for travel pursuits. It's good for learning new subjects, new skills, trying new skills that you learned in the past. It will give you the courage to take chances and make some big leaps. It will give you more energy, drive, and make you forge ahead with all your plans. It can be a good time to launch something new, especially if it's an independent project. It's also a good time to get back to your exercise routines. Career can get a boost now. The full moon on April 6th is in your 6th house. So excellent for any self-care activities, good for work. You could be busy with new projects now. Work can be coming in if it felt blocked. This full moon gets the aspect of Mars and Jupiter, making you very active at this time. Venus, your 7th lord, will move into Taurus the same day, which is an excellent position for you. Good for increasing wealth, good for connecting with family. On April the 14th, the sun moves into Aries. Another excellent transit for you. It's the 5th lord in the 1st house. Of course, it's joining Rahu there and Mercury as well. Luck is on your side now. You're getting the green signal in many areas of life, and things are moving forward that may have felt stuck for a while. If you have children, you'll need to give them more attention now. On April the 20th, we have a solar eclipse in your sign in Ashwini. I've made a separate video, as I said. So, but being in your house, in your 1st house, is a good time to withdraw and keep the schedule light, because you will probably have your hands full at this time. The best news is Jupiter's movement. Jupiter will be moving into Aries on April the 21st. So you will get your confidence back and feel like you can accomplish anything now. Yeah. So Taurus, we start the month with Lagna Lord Venus in the 12th house with Rahu and Mercury. Lagna Lord Venus in Aries will make you feel like going into a reclusive mood. You may not feel very social. With Rahu there, it can cause troubles with sleep. Your expenses will also likely increase now. It can also mean spontaneous connections and even affairs for some people. The transit can be good for health issues because here Venus will be aspecting your 6th house. Things that may have troubled you can come to the surface and you can find solutions now. Be watchful of anxiety at this time. Anxiety could increase with that Venus-Rahu combination in the 12th. It's good time for making amends for relationships that went sour, if you needed to do that. Yeah. 7th Lord Mars in the 2nd house can bring some friction in family life. And I would say be watchful of what you say now. It can backfire. Don't get into unnecessary gossip or backbiting with others. The full moon occurring in Virgo is in your 5th house. So great time to relax, great time to unwind. It's good to spend time with your children. If you wanted to start a business or a new project, it's excellent time to give that a go. There's a lot of focus on the 12th house this month, with the sun moving there mid-month also. And then we have the solar eclipse in your 12th house as well. So you can see an old matter coming to some culmination at this time. It's a good time for rest, renewal, connecting with the inner space. It can cause some disturbance in your life though. So much 12th house energy. But if you are regular with this spiritual practice, you can see some breakthroughs at this time. This is especially the case when Jupiter moves into Aries on April the 21st. Yeah. Gemini, for you, the month starts with Mercury, Lagna Lord, in the 11th house with Rahu and Venus. So this is an excellent transit. It can help with learning new skills. It can give a boost to networking, career matters that felt stuck. Earnings can get a boost now as well. Mars in Gemini can make you feel impatient though and easily agitated. Relationships could also suffer because of that. Relationships with your intimate partners, as well as siblings. Those in your immediate environment, certainly. Yeah. Those in Mars Dasha can feel energized now with this Mars transit, and confident and ready to take some chances in life. It's good, especially for those that are self-employed or in business, as it's the 11th Lord in the 1st house. So it's good for taking initiatives. You have a full moon in your 4th house, which is excellent for a retreat, spending time at home. With Jupiter's aspect, it can also help you to relax with your family now. Month ends with a lot of activity in your 11th house, so you will be out and about this month. With the solar eclipse in Aries as well as Jupiter's movement there in your 11th house, you can feel supercharged this month. Yeah. It's a great time for networking. It's a great time for connecting with others. If you have a career, then this can help you grow further. And if not, you can easily attract the right opportunities now. You'll want to be more visible at this time, more extrovert. Yeah. Cancer. Month starts with a heavy concentration of energy in the 9th and the 10th houses. So it's an excellent time for travel. It's a great time for career matters as well. You'll want to be social and connect with others now. You can also get some recognition in your work now, and this will increase as the month progresses for you. Full moon in the 3rd house also supports travel, as well as taking initiatives on your own, being self-motivated, getting things done. You'll feel productive and you can accomplish a lot this month. Yeah. Now, Venus moving into your 11th house is, of course, great for earnings. It's also great for starting new relationships. Sun moving into your 10th house mid-month, an exalted sun in your 10th will get you noticed now. And you can make great strides with your career or your place in the world. This trend continues with so much focus on the 10th house because you also have an eclipse there on April the 20th. And then Jupiter moves there on April the 21st. So you are in the spotlight in one way or another. And this trend will continue with Jupiter's movement there. This is also a time for managing property matters, because that 410 axis is so strong now. It will bring a lot of activity and some progress with respect to your career, and lots of focus on domestic front at this time too. Yeah. If you wanted to start a new career, the eclipse and Jupiter's transit can really give you a boost to do that. Now would be the time to send out your CVs or launch something, even on your own, if you wanted to do that. Mars in the 12th house can feel difficult. It can bring unnecessary expenses. It can trouble your sleep as well. And in close relationships, it can be a taxing transit too, because of Mars's aspect on Capricorn, right? Your 7th house. Overall, this is an excellent month to connect and to be seen, generally. Yeah. So, Leo, you start the month with Lagna Lord in the 8th house. So this can make you feel a little bit out of sorts, but this changes April 14th when the sun moves into your 9th house, and you'll feel an energetic boost and certainly more optimistic by this time. Lagna Lord in the 8th house can give you some new insights as well, especially if you're an astrologer or like a psychic medium, or you work in these areas. You can also see some breakthroughs in research matters if your work involves research. The full moon takes place in the 2nd house on April the 6th, and that can mean money coming in. It's a good time to organize your finances with Jupiter leaving that 8th house now. Venus in Aries is also supportive for you and good for organizing finances and career matters. Good for travel too. 3rd Lord in the 9th house can help you take some chances and new initiatives. Venus moving into your 10th house on April 6th is also a good transit, especially for career and money matters. Yeah. Mars in your 11th is a fantastic transit for you. I think probably the best one out of all the signs. Things can really start to move forward in your life now. Yeah. All areas that felt stuck for the first few weeks of the year, you'll see some momentum. It's good for work, it's good for the money flow. Lots of opportunities to make beneficial connections as well with Mars in the 11th and Saturn in the 7th. The solar eclipse falls in your 9th house, and your luck will change now. You're one of the few signs that will benefit from this eclipse cycle. And you'll start to feel this when Jupiter enters Aries on April the 21st, which is an excellent transit for you, because from here Jupiter aspects your house. You'll start to feel more outgoing now and feel like connecting with others. This is unlike how you may have been feeling for the past few months, certainly. Yeah. So it's a good month for you, Leo. Okay, so for Virgo, what's happening for you? Well, for you, there's a full moon happening in your 1st house. This is an excellent full moon to make announcements for any new endeavors, for any new achievements. It's a time when you ought to give yourself and your partner some time alone. And it's a great time to switch off and get away for a while if you can. With Jupiter's aspect, you'll get full support for whatever you're planning to do now. Here, Saturn's aspect can actually be helpful for you to organize your life and see the picture more realistically. You have Lagna Lord, Mercury, transiting the 8th house with Rahu and Venus. So there's a lot of focus on wealth matters now. It's a good time to organize your finances at this time. You may also experience some sudden source of wealth materializing at this time. That can happen when Venus and Rahu are in the 8th. If you're studying or researching a new subject, you can see some breakthroughs. Sun will also be there till mid-month, so it enhances this capability. It's a good time for spiritual practices. You can get some answers now to long-standing questions. Yeah. Mars transit into Gemini can be difficult for career matters. It's the 8th lord in the 10th house, so there can be some disagreements. But you'll be able to push forward despite the opposition that you might face. Yeah. Ultimately, you will be able to coast through, even though it might be a bit difficult at first. I would say get yourself into a new fitness regime during this Mars transit, because it's very energized Mars. Solar eclipse also takes place in the 8th house, so there's a lot of focus on finances, wealth, and maybe even investments, but certainly getting your finances organized. This is the time to do that. Yeah. Maybe even perhaps even finding better deals if you have a mortgage. Like now is a time you can see a breakthrough. Saving grace is Venus's movement into your 9th house, giving you the resources to deal with any disruptions that come up now. With all that 8th house energy, certainly you could face disruptions. So let's talk about Libra next. There's a lot of focus on your relationships this month. So much energy in your 7th house can have you very busy with your partner. If you're single, now is the time to make yourself more visible. Get out, meet people. The month starts slow with a full moon in your 12th house, which would make it a good time to figure out what you want in your relationships. And it's important to be honest with yourself, right? This is even more so because Mars is in your 9th house. You may feel pressured from your father, from mentors, people who guide you basically in your life. You may feel some pressure from them. You may not get sound advice though, because Mars is not a good planet for you. With Mars's aspect on the 3rd house, you may in fact find yourself getting into petty confrontations. So watch out for that. You have Lagna Lord Venus going to the 8th house and all the planetary energy in the 7th house in mid-month onward. So people can be making a lot of demands on you at this time. Right? If you're single, you can meet new people with just a little bit of effort. So get out and circulate if that's the case. The focus is on relationships and connecting with others. The solar eclipse on April the 20th and Jupiter in Aries from April the 21st can give you the push you need to get out and about. If you have your own business or you work for yourself, you can be quite busy now. Travel opportunities will also come out of the blue. Scorpio, what's happening for you? You start the month with a full moon in your 11th house. It's a good time to socialize, to make connections, especially with Jupiter's aspect. Lagna Lord Mars in Gemini could mean the end of difficult relationships and connections at this time. Mars in the 8th can also bring some challenges with family members too. Watch for health issues, but you should deal with it immediately if something comes up, right? In fact, it's a good time to do that because that Mars can certainly bring something to the surface. And a good way to use that Mars energy in the 8th is to get into like new exercise routines. Stay out of workplace drama and disagreements. Venus with Rahu and Mercury in the 6th house supports this as well. Venus moving to the 7th house on April 6th can bring some new financial opportunities. You can meet someone now if you're single and dating. Sun moving into Aries on April 14th will put the efforts back into the daily grind. It's a good time to change your routine for the better with so much focus on that 6th house. Trying new regimes like yoga, spiritual practices is very good now and can work wonders, in fact. Yeah. Solar eclipse in your 6th house is also favoring more self-care. Watch for confrontations now with Jupiter moving into that into Aries, right? Your 6th house on April the 21st. So, Sagittarius, what's happening for you? The month starts with a full moon in your 10th house. Your attention will go toward your domestic and work life now. And now would be the time to make some changes with that Jupiter's aspect there. Like now, Lord Jupiter in the 4th, moving into the 5th on April 21st is another excellent Jupiter transit for you. But with Rahu there, it can make it difficult for you to make decisions related to your business if you have one. Yeah, or even your like domestic life. Earnings will also fluctuate when Jupiter and Rahu are together in the 5th. If you have children, then you can face some stress with them also, because there may be a lot of demands on your time. But Jupiter in the 5th is excellent because it aspects Sagittarius from there, your 1st house. Mars in your 7th can make you very vocal about problems in relationships. So you can get into fight with others now. So steer clear of that. Watch for gossip also. Venus in your 6th house just kind of compounds this problem with especially with close, intimate relationships. Solar eclipse in the 5th house means that you could be starting something new. It's a new beginning for you, certainly, by the end of the month. A new project, a new business, something new, something that you create. And it's a time that you can see some breakthroughs with people showing up to help you achieve your objectives as well. Yeah, good month for you. Overall, good month for you. Just watch for that Mars transit there. Capricorn, the full moon is happening in your 9th house. So an unplanned trip can come up for you now. Yeah. It's also a good time to seek advice. You could find an answer to an old problem now. Your Lagna Lord is strong. For those with Capricorn moon, this is the last leg of your Sadhi phase. But that transit through the 2nd house can bring some issues with money matters. Yeah. Mars transit into your 6th house is excellent for employment matters. Defeating competition and changing your routine to your advantage. If you had health concerns, you can get the answers. You'll get good advice now, but you must be quick with your action. Sun moves there on April the 14th, and that can bring some swift changes with your domestic situation. A move can happen quite suddenly now. The concentration of energy is in your 4th house this month. The solar eclipse is in your 4th, as well as Jupiter's movement into Aries on April 21st is also in your 4th house. So good for domestic matters, but certainly you will see some swift changes in your domestic life. From mid-April onward, you'll notice that. And even in your career sphere, there will be some new developments. Venus in your 5th house is a good transit from April 6th onward for new romance. It's good for lucrative deals. Money matters as well. Yeah. Aquarius. Well, we start the month with a full moon in your 8th house, and this can bring some health issues to the surface especially if you were feeling a bit off. It would be a good time to get your joint finances in order with your partner at this time. With that Jupiter's aspect, everything should go well. Yeah. But I would say it's not a good time to take any risky it's not a good time to make any risky moves, especially related to your finance. Unless you're doing it jointly with someone like your partner. Yeah. Mars in Gemini can bring difficulties with children at this time. It can make you take risks without getting the right advice as well. There's a lot of energy in your 3rd house. That Sun moves there on April the 14th. Sun being 7th Lord in the 3rd house can be good for business and work projects. Any kind of entrepreneurial pursuits. But it can bring some communication issues in marriage as well. There's a lot of focus on connecting with others now, and things can happen very quickly. There's a solar eclipse taking place also in your third house. Jupiter transits there from April 21st onward. You can be reconnecting with younger siblings at this time, and there may be changes in their lives as well that affect you. Some old drama can resurface with them at this time. There'll be a lot of activity this month to keep you busy. All right, finally, Pisces. Pisces, we start the month with a full moon in your 7th house. It's an excellent full moon to spend time with your partner, with Jupiter's aspect there. Also good for business and travel, if that's on your agenda. Lagna Lord is favorably positioned for you in the 1st house, and it moves into the 2nd house, which is also a great transit for you. There's a lot of energy concentrated in the 2nd house this month. The sun moves there mid-month, followed by an eclipse, and then Jupiter. So there will be improvements in family life, in your earnings, certainly. Mars in your 4th can bring some fights at home, though, or with your partner. You can be a bit too controlling with them also at this time. This Mars transit can bring an unexpected move as well, especially if you were on the edge about that. You were thinking about it, but you weren't sure. It could happen quite unexpectedly now. Some change in the domestic life is there. And there might be some career moves as well. So the domestic move might be connected to your career, for instance. Yeah. All right, well, that's all for now. All the best. Thank you, folks. Cheers.